Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a really long time. I actually stopped doing these videos and took a break from social media for a substantial amount of time. But I thought it would be a good segue of getting back into things by doing a video about monthly insights of what's been happening in the recruitment space in the month of March. So I've got my notes with me. Let's get into it. So the first thing that was really big news was a big wage win for aged care workers in Australia. A Favour Commission ruling granted aged care workers in Australia a substantial wage increase of up to 28.5%. This actually came back after a long-standing undervaluation of their work. There were a lot of people expressing that they've been burned out. There were a lot of people actually getting out of that space, resigning. So there was less aged care workers and they were huge in demand. But again, because they were feeling undervalued, they didn't really want to commit to that space or wanted to get out of it. And this actually stopped new people from entering that space as well, being like, hey, why do I go in if I'm doing like really, really long hours? The pay is really crap as well. What do I get out of it? Speaking of things that have been happening, and this is a latest trend per se, and it's not just only happening in the recruitment space, but I feel like all around, it is to do with AI integration. It's AI is transforming the recruitment process everywhere, from applicant tracking systems that organizations are using to virtual assistants to chatbots, different kind of tech being used to basically streamline recruitment processes. Now it does come with its own pros and cons, because I feel like there's just so many AI tools out there at the moment, and it feels like a bit of a bandwagon effect where everyone wants to just jump on it and not really realize how it works, what kind of impact it's going to have. They just feel like if you don't jump into it now, or if we don't like roll up our sleeves and be involved in this, we are going to miss out on something really big. It's actually interesting because there was an article in the Australian Financial Review which stated Australians unconvinced about AI safety, where a survey was conducted where Australians are skeptical about AI benefits and prefer human involvement. Now, despite most of these concerns, most people out there are actually comfortable with AI as long there is some human oversight to it. The report actually highlights that the need for greater understanding of AI and emphasizes the importance of clear regulations and transparency to trust basically in all this AI usage that's about to come about. And again, like I feel like it's when ChatGPT came or OpenAI sort of burst into the scene, it was a really great tool to play with. Like I remember just being on it, like testing it in different ways. But again, there was no transparency about, hey, what about the information that I'm putting in there? What's being done with that information? How's that information being used? What are its limitations? And things like that. Some people might be actually putting in some confidential information in there. So how are they protected? So again, a lot's been happening in that space. It's growing rapidly, but again, not so much transparency, which there really needs to be. There was another article in LinkedIn News Australia, which pay rises stall for tech workers. The article details a stall in salary growth for tech workers amidst a surge in job applications. This is something that we've been seeing recently. While demand for certain skills remained high, overall salary growth in the tech sector has slowed, with the discrepancy between candidate salary expectations and market realities. And this is something that I can actually speak on, because even I remember when I took on the current role that I'm in, and it was like tech workers were like popular and like really in demand. We were paying them crazy salaries. We were paying someone like a senior engineer like 160K, a senior front-end engineer or something like that. And we were like sponsoring people, like anything to just get the best talent. And now that the market is slowed, there's redundancies in the market and whatnot, that salary has gone down from 160 to like 120, 130. If they're really like ticking all the boxes and are outstanding, maybe around 140 if the manager agrees. But again, in the candidate's mindset, they're like, no, I don't want to come below the salary. So what do? Do they really just stay in that role because they're on that salary? Even if they're not happy with that position anymore, even if they're not happy with the organization, or they bite the bullet and they're like, I'll take on another position, I'll take a pay cut, but it's going to be more engaging, it's going to be more impactful. It's an interesting sort of imbalance over there. The article also says that the stagnation is attributed to factors such as, like I mentioned, widespread redundancies, a surplus of talent, and a slowdown in tech spending. Like even And again, speaking from experience, at the start of like last year, I remember I was handling something like 30 roles at a moment, and these were like tech roles. And now that number has gone down to just five. So the demand for these tech workers has definitely slowed down. And when I say demand, it's not, teams are still looking for that approval in headcount, but I feel like it's the overall senior leadership team or the business that's like, no, we really need to have a strong hand or control over organizational spending. Uh, to avoid redundancies. Again, it's a double-edged sword, if you will. There was another article in the Australian Financial Review around Bupa, which is saying Bupa 9-day fortnight trial in way. So Bupa, who's a like health insurance organization, launches a trial for 9-day fortnight, allowing participating employees to have an extra day off without reduction in pay. This initiative follows a similar trial by rival Medibank, reflecting a trend of white-collar employers exploring shorter work weeks. While these experiments aim to improve employee engagement, well-being, and productivities, opinions vary on whether such arrangements should become standard practice across all businesses. And this, again, I feel like this, when COVID happened, we all went into remote working, we all went into working from home, and then after working from home, it's hybrid working, and now it's come into a sort of a place where you're being called back into the office, but you're being called back into the office in really dodgy ways, like ANZ and Suncorp and all the banks are doing, where they're like, it's optional, but if you don't come back into the office, your bonus will be affected by this. Even like Combank is doing the same thing, where there's a set KPI for you to be in the office, and if you're not, then yeah, your bonus, end of year bonus or profit share, whatever, will be affected by it. So they're trying these different ways to get people back into the office, but there are some organizations that are actually seeing that, hey, employee engagement, especially at this time with cost of living and other pressures coming in, they're like really being affected, and we need to bring up engagement, and this could be the next big thing. Like especially in the recruitment space, where I'm like taking phone calls every day and just doing admin work, I feel like for a lot of white collar roles, 4-day work week or like 9-day fortnight trial would actually work. It just depends on commitment, and again, it depends. It has to be something that comes top down from the leadership team, like, hey, we're committed to this, we really want to do this, rather than hearing at like a team meeting saying, hey, everyone should be coming back into the office, I don't want to mandate anything, and expect that that's good for employee engagement. But again, I digress. Another thing that an article was in LinkedIn News Australia was titled "Just a Mum," which was actually pretty good. A University of South Australia survey reveals discrimination against expecting mothers and working parents in Australian workplaces, with high percentages experiencing mistreatment during pregnancy, parental leave, and upon returning to work. And it needs to be a conversation that really needs to be had. And again, when I say discrimination, I've seen things like, especially in the recruitment space, where I want to say it's like silent discrimination, where a manager looks at a resume and is like, I don't want to hire this person because they've just come back into the workplace. They've got a new kid. They're probably going to take some time off here and there because the child is sick or something, or they're probably going to ask for more options from working from home to tend to their child. And again, it baffles my mind because these things are really normal. Like, this is a human experience. Like, it's 2024, and we should have ways to be like, okay, let's support our employees, let's support these people coming back into the workforce, let's make this process as seamless as possible. But instead, I feel like we're still at a stage where we silently nitpick these things, and this come again from all kinds of managers and all kinds of sort of mindsets. So definitely a thing that needs to be looked at. There was also news around Coles, which apparently is looking at a new enterprise agreement and trying to get like a pay deal with its workers. And what it did was it offered its staff gift cards as a way to pursue them to be like, hey, just agree to this deal. So the article reads, Coles workers are expressing discontent with a proposed enterprise agreement that offers in-store gifts as part of the deal, calling it insulting and inadequate given the company's increased profits. Despite negotiations with unions, some employees feel that agreement fails to provide meaningful pay rises, leaving them struggling to afford necessities. The proposed agreement includes a Coles gift card offer, which critics see as an attempt to sway votes. And again, like I feel like it's again like baffling to me. It's a no-brainer with cost of living pressures and these organizations which have like profits within millions, like a half yearly profit which is like 900 million or something, and still overlook their employees. And I feel like that's such a double standard that we have, like organizations in their visions and in their values and whatnot say like we are one, or we value our employees, or we treat them with respect, but we see these kind of organizations putting profits before people, and we see this a lot. So yeah, like I don't really go on a tangent, but I've seen a lot lately where the organization says something or displays something or says, "Oh, we really value this," but on the other hand, clearly value profits. Um, there was another article in LinkedIn News. It was called "Seeing the Unseen," and it was by the CEO of Korn Ferry, which is a recruitment agency, really illustrating the importance of noticing and valuing the unseen aspects of people and situations, and emphasizing the value of recognizing and acknowledging their efforts and what they do for the organization. And I see, and that's something that I really like, because a lot of employees just do a great job, but because they do such a great job, you never hear about their work, because they keep everything on they keep everything under the radar. Like everything is a smooth process, no issues, and even if they do hit certain hurdles, they are able to be on top of it. They're able to manage it really well. But because of that, because they manage it so well, and they coordinate with different departments or divisions or whatever to manage those situations, they go as unseen. They don't get validation. They don't get, I want to say, any shout outs for anyone. It becomes just a day to day where they don't feel recognized, and that is a big deal in, again, employees resigning and then looking for new work. Um, I also saw on LinkedIn trending topics. There was a topic about the cost of a cluttered inbox, which was around like your email inbox. Like, how many emails do you have? How do you manage that? Because if I miss a day of work, I can see that I get around, I don't know, like 100 emails from different managers coming back to me. There's managers, there's like candidate queries, there's different divisions reaching out to me for clarity and whatnot. So how do you stay on top of your emails? The options were something like sorting them into folders, you delete old emails right away, or you regularly check your inbox, or do you do something that's completely different and unique, and you find your own style on how to stay on top of your emails? In the Australian poll, it showed that 47% said that they manage it regularly, checking their emails. 38% said that they actually sort them into folders, and 11% said that they delete their old emails as soon as possible. Uh, Now, looking at my notes, I feel like that's all that I had for this video. It's good to be back, and I hope to do more videos more regularly. But thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll catch you in the next one.